So Danny Trejo has released movie 785,000 in his film career. Dude, this guy has been in so many things at this point. Anyway, this movie is brought to us by John Gulager. I think that's how you say his name. And he is the director of the Feast trilogy, which I was a big fan of. I love those films, Marcus Dunstan and Patrick Melton of Saw 4 through 7, as well as The Collector 1 and 2. And the list goes on. I actually got to interview Marcus Dunstan recently and talk to him about a movie and talk to him about his upcoming Saw 11 writing credit and all that stuff. It was very cool. But it was, John Gulager was the name that I saw when I clicked on this, because when I see all the new horror movies coming out, I always look at them. I see like who directed them, who's in them, what anything is, trying to get any sense of like interest of like, oh, I didn't know this person directed it. Okay, now I'm interested. That can really sway me in making these decisions. So I threw this on. It also has Lou Temple in it. That would be the other familiar face here. And I love the concept of this film. I'll say that out the gate, right? This is Danny Trejo's character. He gets killed, and he is brought back by a bruja, a witch, and she gives him the ability to bring back like affiliates of his, like past gang members or whatever that he's worked with, because he's like a came out of prison. He was a gang member, and he has like a crew of guys that he's worked with in the past. And she's like, you can bring them back to settle this score, because he has this person that he's trying to protect her from, this like drug kingpin, crime lord kind of guy, and he's coming to take her land, and it's like family thing, and so he creates this motley crew of undead zombies and brings them back to protect this girl from this gang. So really love that. I love this like undead zombie type gang brought back by their like head leader. So that was a fun concept, and the film has fun in it for sure. There was plenty of things in here that kept me entertained throughout. I wouldn't say that this is good. The thing that held this film back for sure, one of the things, is there's a good amount of really noticeable, really bad CGI. And it's really aggressively in your face quite often. And that was really hurting the film, because there's so many like shots. I keep like going in reverse here. There are a few really good practical kills in this. There's like a head explosion it's one of my favorites I've seen in a little while. Right? So there's a really great like shotgun to the head explosion, Maniac style kind of thing, that's fully practical and looks fucking awesome. And I was like, where's that in this movie? Why is that not the majority of this film? Like, sure, there's a certain couple of moments here and there that like I understand the way that they wanted to shoot it, the way they wanted to do it. The CG was going to be the only realistic way to be able to achieve it. That's fine. I mean, if you could cut down the special effects shots, right, and you could invest the money, all the money you set aside for practical or for digital effects, you could pool that money together if you have to do them that way. If you lessen the amount of them, then you can put more money and effort into the CGI, right? And it would look better and not as noticeably terrible, but like try to avoid it in every way that you can, right? Like I totally understand there's gonna be certain things nowadays that are just gonna have to have CGI enhancements or whatever to like, stitch shots together or whatever. That's fine. I don't have any issue with that. I don't think CGI is completely useless within horror. I think you can definitely, use it to some degree, but not like this. This This is so distracting. This is so awful. It should not be done. And when you have the guy who did the Feast trilogy, which has tons of insane kills, he knows Marcus Dunson and Patrick Melton, who worked with the Saw guys, and they have some of the best gore in horror. Like they have the special effects teams. I know that this guy has the ability to get good practical effects makeup artists to work on his project. So that was a huge letdown. And then they try to go for this like really edgy, really cool, character driven film with like all of these quirky individual unique characters, because they bring them in and they give them these flashy title sequences where they get their name on screen, and they do this pretty often in his films. The Feast trilogy does this, where every time it introduces a new character, it does like the freeze frame and the text on the screen. They did it in the Suicide Squad. They do it all the time when they're trying to like be really flashy and edgy and whatever. And so that's the kind of movie they're going for, where they got like the music starts playing, the like it's almost like Western music that plays, and like the cracking of the whip and all that stuff. You know, guys, what I'm talking about. And there's these lines of dialogue, and they're supposed to be so like, edgy and funny, and a lot of them just feel forced and corny and don't really land. But then some do, right? So the movie is a big mixed bag. I think for people who like these lower budgeted, just having fun with it, wanting to go and just have a good time, and you can look past like bad CG, and you really like Danny Trejo and whatnot, and you're into these types of films, I think there's definitely fun to be had here. I had a fine time watching it. Like the whole time I was entertained enough, right? It was always like missed opportunity. Okay, that was fun. Missed opportunity. Oh, that was pretty awesome. Missed opportunity. That was all right. That's how the whole film went. So overall, as I said, I'm a fan of pretty much everything, right? Like there's no subgenre that I hate outright. I'm a pretty open guy, so I found this one to be semi entertaining for the subgenre that it kind of falls into, like quirky, edgy horror comedy with like silly, over the top characters. Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite is in this as well, and it's kind of going for like the Frighteners or something along those lines, and it's not hitting anything like that level. Frighteners is awesome, but it might be worth a watch for you guys if that sounds even slightly up your alley. So Danny Trejo's being Danny Trejo. I mean, the guy is the same fucking person in almost every film he's ever been in. The only film that I think I've ever seen Danny Trejo act different in, personally, I haven't seen every movie he's ever made, because who has? I don't even think Danny Trejo's seen every movie he's ever made. Is Rob Zombie's Halloween, where he plays Ishmael, who he also works with Lou Temple in that, now that I'm thinking about it. They go back and forth at each other. But he's a completely different character in that. He's like very clean cut and sweet, and it's odd, but in this he's very Danny Trejo, and he's 80 years old in this movie. 80, Jesus. It's wild. He's looked the same for the last 20 years, so it's hard to tell, but his saddlebags under his eyes just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But yeah, Danny Trejo, he's been around for a long time. I looked it up, and one of his first films was Runaway Train, which I grew up on with Eric Roberts and John Voight. He's a boxer in that, and I looked it up, like his pictures in that. And it was cool to see him so young, but that movie's 40 something years old, which means he was like my age then, which is kind of wild. Anyway, so that's that. Let me know if you watch it. 7 Cemeteries. It's available to rent. All right.